Hi everybody, welcome back to the Gallowgateshots YouTube channel. We're back with a video about Helios. I'm Scott. I'm joined by Kris in this one. Kris, since the last video that we did on Helios, where we went over how to play, I understand you've had a few rounds of Helios yourself. How are you finding it?
I have. I think when we first downloaded Scott, obviously I've had one on the App Store, and we just got addicted to it straight away.
Yeah.
It's do you know what it is? I want to mention this first of all because people will start going, "Oh, they're only doing this because they must be getting paid, or there must be sort of some ad revenue and something like that." We're generally not getting a single penny off it. We haven't been approached by anybody from the Helios team, Alan St. Max, nobody. We're just doing this off our own back. I know.
I wish we had.
We're doing this off our own back just because we enjoy the game. But yeah, I was really enjoying it. I stopped playing it for a few weeks. Just obviously life getting in the way, but obviously it's just been announced that there's tournaments and the changes to the app, so we're both logged back on and I'm straight back into it, mate. But yeah, really enjoying it.
Yeah, so there have been some changes since we last looked at it, and that's one of the reasons why we're doing this video, is because we want to show you some of those new features, but you've probably seen on the social media for Helios, if you've been paying any attention, that there's a current tournament going on that we kind of want to try everyone to get involved in. Or we want you to, because there's 5 cup final tickets on the agenda for that. So if you can learn how to play it and you can play it well, you might have a chance of doing that. I'm nowhere near it. I'm not going to get those tickets. I know for a fact I'm not, because I've already messed it up.
I hope it's Newcastle fans getting these tickets, mind.
Well, yeah, that's the other thing, because obviously the app is worldwide. I'm in the Netherlands. I can download it on the Dutch App Store, but we'll see what happens. So what we thought we'd do, we'll go through the new features of the app, and then one of the new features is multiplayer, where you can play against a friend. So I thought that me and Kris could have a couple of rounds against each other, and we can kind of go through and explain why we think each other's playing whatever card, to try and help you build a strategy to maximize your chances of winning, because it's still hard, isn't it?
Yeah. Do you know what it is? When you first downloaded, I think you went straight to medium. Then you were playing on hard, and I stuck to mainly easy just while I learned the ropes. Then now I'm just on hard every single time, and sometimes it's great. You feel as if you're king of the world. You can beat the bot every single time. Sometimes the bot kicks your ass. So it's like we mentioned, it is strategy card games, so anything can happen in it. And you've got to take some gambles at times.
You do. You've got to take some gambles. You've got to try and card count a little bit as well, to try and figure out what cards are left. I'm actually surprised at how much I'm enjoying it, given the fact that it was kind of a running joke when it first came out that, oh, yeah, we are. This is, just another footballer launch and whatever. But actually, it's pretty good.
It is decent.
So I'm going to click a button here on StreamYard, and hopefully you can see my screen on my phone. So like Kris mentioned, there's some new parts of the app now. There is online, which I'm not going to go into just yet. And then there's obviously the bot game, which is what we showed in the first round. As you can see there, I'm currently sitting on 98 wins and 97 losses. So that just goes to show how hit and miss this is, because, like I say, you can be on a streak of 10, like I was, and then I went 20 below, and now I've pulled it back up, and yeah, it's a nightmare. There are tournaments, so when you click on the little tournament, you get the top players. So these are the people who are currently in contention for those prizes. Like we said, we don't know who's going to get what prizes. There's no...
It changes a lot, that leaderboard. And I was 9th the other night, and I've dropped off it now, completely off it. And I think it's worthwhile mentioning that the tournament is based on your first 30 games. So whatever you perform, you could win 15, lose 15, win 20, lose 10, whatever it is. Obviously, if you look at that top one, Scott, I can't see from here, but I'm guessing it's like 20 odd wins, is it?
26 wins, 4 losses. So there's 2. The first 2 are on equal. So that's the thing as well. Obviously, we've mentioned that there's cup final tickets, but there's other stuff as well, like iPhones. There's invitations to other tournaments that they have not. I think at St. James's Park. Obviously,
Alan's car. You can win Alan's car.
Headbands, Rolex watches. Yeah, there's so much that you can win, which is one of the reasons why I think this is quite popular. if you can get good at it, you can get some pretty decent prizes. They've also added a shop, which this app takes a little while to load, but I don't know what this is for. I don't know why you would want to buy these coins or these rubies. There's no explanation of what these rubies do yet, but if you want to buy rubies, you can do. You earn coins through every game. So you'll see at the top, I've got 46.4 thousand coins. That isn't me spending a $5 on 40,000 coins and then winning a few ones. You get 1,000 coins for every game you play if you win on hard, and you only lose like 200, and then it drops down if you and then they sell these academy avatars where if you're in one of the academies, you can have a special character on your thing. So I picked the water as my academy because, like I say, I've won 100, well, nearly 100 games, so I had enough coins to join the academy. And when you go to the academy, basically this is coming soon. From what I understand, you pick a team. So I picked water because I think that's the team Alan St. Maximin picked, if I remember on his social media. I probably got that wrong, but you unlock that once you get to a certain number of coins. I can't remember how many it was. And then that means you're part of that team. And then in the future, obviously, I think after this tournament, they'll probably have other tournaments where your teams play against other teams. And there's 4 of them, I think. It's like Captain America. There's like water, earth, wind, and fire or something silly like that.
Sort of like a clan sort of thing, isn't it?
It is. It's just something different that you can obviously it adds to the game because, like I say, if you just play against bots, which is absolutely fine, it's how you get the points up. Then maybe this will add a little variant to that. One thing I will say is, obviously, we talked about the top players in the tournament. You can't just do an online game between 2 friends and have one person win every single game. You don't get coins or anything like that when you do that, and you'll see that when we play. You've got
it's non-competitive, isn't it? When you're going against online, it's just non-competitive. You get nothing for it apart from
for fun.
Yeah,
and it is only 1-on-1 as well at the moment. I believe if you buy the deck of cards or the game itself is intended to be played, I think it says up to 15 people, which I don't think I could get my head around quite. It's hard enough 1v1. It'd be fun. I think it'd be a good laugh, but I don't know if it'll be something that I could get my head around if trying to figure out who's got what cards and where they're going from. Anyway, what we'll do, I'm going to hide my phone screen because, like I said before, me and Chris are going to have a little game or a couple of games of Helios. So I'm recording my phone screen, Chris. So let us know when you are doing yours, and then we'll.
I'm recording now, mate.
Awesome. So the way this works, if you're unaware, you click on the online, and then it just gives you a list of players, but you can search for a player's name at the top. So Chris, what is your
G shots we've gone with?
G shots, obviously. Now, what you'll see is I'm typing in Chris's name here, and it should find him. There he is. And I hit the little envelope, and I invite the player. And then Chris should be getting an invitation.
Straight away.
Straight away. It's nice and quick. And then what happens on my screen, when that gets highlighted, I can click launch game, and it's there. So it must take a couple of seconds to...
So I'll get the notification, then it basically just says join lobby. You click on that, and it just takes you and puts you 2 avatars next to each other. And
then a launch game, and then we're in. So apologies if you're watching this. We're going to be looking down a little bit. So if you don't want to see the top of 2 blokes' heats, I will try and edit this so that the phones are taking up a lot more of the screen than anything else. But I can't see Chris's screen, and he can't see mine. We're just playing this on our own phone. So I'm going to roll my dice. Surprise, surprise! I rolled a 2, and so did Chris. So the way that you determine, like before, how who goes first, it's whoever rolls the highest.
So you just rolled another 2.
Yeah.
And I rolled another 2. Is this broke?
I don't know.
There you go. You rolled a 6, mate.
Yeah, I rolled a 6. There we go. So as you can see, these are my cards. I'm not going to tell you what I've got because that'll give the game away to Chris. But what we're going to try and do, and this might go horribly wrong, and you'll probably see we're laughing when another person's trying to do, but we're going to try and dictates what we think the other person's doing based on the cards they're playing. So let me have a look at what I've got, and I'm just going to play a card straight away.
Right. So you place a 3 down. So immediately you'll get to know these sort of patterns when you're playing yourself, if you do download the app, is that doubles are really important in this game. So by Scott putting a 3 out there, I'm just assuming he doesn't have another 3 because you'd want to keep that double and that little partnership.
Well, it's doubles, triples, quadruples, and I've had 5 of 2s because when you play the Hypnos card, it changes that card into a 2. So I've had 5 before, and you can play all 5 at once. Yeah, which is really quite good.
So it might sound a bit mind-boggling, but once you play a couple of games, you get the hang of it straight away. So basically,
if you watch the first video that we did, we explain a bit what each card does. And we're not going to do that in this one because we've already done one like that. So I'll put a little link in the description, and you can go and watch that one and come back to this one if you want.
Basically, in a nutshell, with Scott putting a 3 there, I've either got to match it or better it. That's just it, right? So if you just go straight in, and you can see I've played a 5, which means, Scott, you've just got to play a 5.
Yeah, I've either got to play a 5 or higher. And again, that's like what Chris said. I'm going to guess that Chris doesn't have more than 1 5. He could do. Now, what I could do, if I play a higher card, it'll just continue the round and then Chris goes. But what I'm going to do, oh, no, I'm not. I've hit 8 accidentally with my thumb because my microphone's in the way and I can't see my screen. So I'm going to play 8. That's going to go up. What I was going to do, and I'll let you know, I was going to play a 5, which would have made me win the round unless Chris had another 5. So if you play the same card, you win that round.
So obviously you've
got a 5.
Accidentally played the 8. And I'll play it safe and I'll just obviously beat it with a 10. Okay. So once again, at this point, only card you can really use now is a 10 or one of the power cards.
You got Jack, Queen, King, Ace as well.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Now, here's where my strategy comes in, and I'm going to give a little bit away of what I do. I try not to use any card above a 10 till the end, because what you'll also see, we've said doubles count, but also high cards really help you out, because you could be down to 3 cards and you've got a 3, a 4, and a 5, say, and if the computer's got cards above that, you just cannot go, and you'll find you'll lose straight away. So what I'm going to do instead, I'm going to skip, even though I could have played. Ooh, giving away strategies. Really? Yeah. I'm finding that is working.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Me against the computer.
I do exactly the same. So if I've got a decent hand there and you've got a lot of 10 or higher, you try and just keep them and just take your chances by skipping. Then by you skipping, I'm not sure, I've just missed out on the app there, but did it roll the dice and give you another card?
I rolled a 4 or above. Okay. So, so if, like in the other video, if you roll 1, 2, or 3, you draw a card. Anything above that, 4, 5, or 6, you don't. Sometimes you want to draw a 1, 2, or 3 when you've only got 1 card left, and it just doesn't give you it. And other times it'll do it. Yeah, so obviously, let's look at the draw. So, Chris, it's your goal, mate.
Right. So, just like we did on the start of that round, trying to go lowest. So 4 gets placed.
So for anyone watching my screen, you'll see something on my screen that I'm not going to say because it'll give the game away to Chris. But I'm not going to do what you'd expect us to do. I'm going to do something else. I'm going to play a 5. The 5 I should have played in the last round.
Right. So I'm just going to go back to basics and just try and beat that without using any of that card. So I'll just go 1 above. So 6 gets placed.
Yeah. So we've mentioned power cards in the past, and the power cards are the ones that you can see. You know, I think there's 4 of them. Is there 4 or 5 of them?
There's 5, I think, mate.
Joker,
Hypnosis,
Artemis, and no, that's it. There's only the 4.
There's only 4.
Yeah. So they all do different things. We talked about them in the other video, but I've got a power card which I'm going to play now. I'm going to play Hades, which will make Chris discard his best card, which is a Joker. So that's one of his power cards. Now, it's worth saying, if he had any of the other power cards, he wouldn't have discarded them, and it would have been his highest value card. Now, I use this Hades to try and judge when I'm against the computer how many power cards they've got. Because if they don't have a joker and it discards like a king, you'll be able to see how many cards are in front of that king, and then you can kind of plan your strategy. It doesn't work when they've got a joker. That's just the chance you take, like Kris was saying. It's the strategy of the whole thing.
Yeah. I've got no option. Got to skip it. So I rolled a 6, means I don't pick up a card. So it goes back to Scott because he won that round.
It goes back to me. So I'm now going to play doubles. I'm going to play a double 2 because that's what I had.
So if Scott rolled double 2, it means I've got to double it basically. So I've got to either match it with a double 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so on. So we shall go in with double 9.
And I'm going to skip that so that Kris wins that round. I drew a 2, so I get another card. And you might think, oh, well, you're adding cards, and the aim of this game is to finish with no cards. Sometimes you need cards. You need to add cards to your deck. It's not a case of just as quick as you can, because when you play against that computer, you think you've won, and you'll play your last card, and then it'll have Artemis, and it'll just give you a 2, and then just play 5s, 9s, 10s, queens, kings, and before you know it, you've lost.
So with the hand which I have left now, okay, normally at this point, if I'm playing the computer, the bot, I'm pretty confident that I'm going to win this straight away. But because I'm playing Scott, and I know that we played quite a bit of this, you're now confident. You could even have 2 cards left, and you call me confident. But like I said, if I'm playing a bot, I'm pretty confident I could just win this now. So I'm going to try and place it and everything down as what I normally would do, just to show you that idea. So you've got to be very clever with this, because if you press one button wrong, it knackers your plan completely. So
that's one thing I'd say. I would like to see them add
bigger cards.
Either bigger cards, because it's right next to my little swipe,
or a confirmation button.
Or just a confirmation button, like a click OK, like it does with a double, just for any card. That would just be really nice, because I've, like you saw earlier, I hit that 5 instead of the 8 instead of the 5. It can be a bit squeaky bum time when you do that wrong.
So I'm going to go bold here. I'm taking a chance, but I'm confident.
We'll go.
Scott's already used one of these cards, so it's another power card. So if I play Hades, that takes Scott's best card away.
Yeah.
Which was a king. Okay.
Yeah.
So if Scott will now,
I'm going to skip, because I can't go.
So Scott skipped that one. So I'm going to go straight back in with a double jack.
Yep. So there's me having to skip again. Now I drew a card there, and that adds to my pile. So
because Scott had to skip the double jack, I'm pretty confident that he'll probably also have to skip a double queen or match it.
He is correct. So I skip that.
So that leaves me with 2 cards. So if I play, and I think it's worthwhile mentioning, you can't finish on a power card. You've got to get rid of your power cards first. So I do have a power card left. And so my power card is Artemis, which means you give the player one of your cards. And I didn't really want to do this, but it's just what I've got left.
What the computer does all the time. It's so annoying.
I give him an ace, because that's the only card I've got left. And the only way Scott can bring this back to me now is if he has another Artemis to throw another card back my way.
And guess what?
You do.
I do. I'm doing what the computer does to you, Kris.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you a lovely low number 2, just like what the computer does to you. So this is what the computer does. I've never done this to the computer myself, so I'm sorry, Kris.
It's a nightmare. This obviously, like I said, I didn't have any other choices there, because I'm confident of winning. And if somebody's got an Artemis, you're knackered. You can play any hand, but they can save that card till right at the end, and you've got to basically start again. Yeah. So I've got to skip this one. I got a 6, which means I don't get a card. And at this point, you want a card, because I'm only left with a 2. And Scott knows I've got a 2.
And
so this is at the point where the computer goes wild and just wipes you out.
Yeah. Well, this is why, like I was saying earlier, you want to keep cards higher than a 10, because now I'm confident I can play, well, like what you were before, I can play all of these cards and I'll win. The the thing where it gets a bit weird is if you roll a 1, 2, or 3 in between these rounds, you'll pick up cards, and then I don't know what you've got. So I'm going to go play safe. Well, I'm going to play safe. I'm going to play a card because I have to, which I know you can't beat. So I know you're going to have to skip this one.
And I roll a 4, means I don't get a card. So Scott
get a card.
Gets the next one as well.
We'll repeat this one. So let me play a 10.
Once again, obviously, Scott knows I've got a 2 and a 9. So I can't beat that. So I've got to skip it. I roll a 4. Still no cards come my way. And really, I want some cards.
So I'm going to play a queen. Same thing. It's exactly the same. Chris can't play. I know he can't play.
Now I rolled a 1.
So now Chris gets a card. This is where it gets interesting. So what I would typically do here is I like to test the waters a little bit. So I'm going to play my triple card that I had first of all, because I know you can't play that because you've only got 2 cards.
Only got 2.
So you can't match that.
Which means I've got to skip.
He's got to skip.
Then I roll 2.
Yeah. So he draws another card. Now, this is where it can get tricky for me because I've got 2 cards left. Obviously, one is higher than the other. Now, what I do here is I play my highest card just to test the waters of what Chris has got. Because if I play my lower card and Chris has that and he matches it, he gets control of the hand and then he could win this. So I'm going to play the ace that Chris so nicely gave me with the Artemis card. It's not always fun giving people cards.
Yeah, so he plays the ace, and like we mentioned, the only options which I've got is either I match it or have a power card. That's the only way you're going to beat the ace.
Yeah.
And even if I match it, it means Scott could obviously skip, and if he rolls a 3, 4 above, he's fine. He just plays that last card and wins. Because the 2 Artemis is already gone. So he knows for fine well that he's not going to gain a card off me. Luckily, I have a hypnosis for me, which obviously Scott's next card drops down to a 2.
Yeah. So I now have to hit skip. Now I want cards because Chris, I know, has got a 2. But what I would do if I was Chris, I'm not playing that 2 first.
Yeah, so I'm going to go straight in with the jack.
So I'm not going to skip again. Now, what I'm praying for is an Artemis, but there aren't any.
There's none.
And I get an ace. I'm going to tell you because I know you're going to win.
So he's got an ace. I've got 1 card left, which is the 2 which Scott gave us earlier when he had that Artemis when I thought I was going to win. You play the 2. Scott basically can't go.
Yeah, it comes up defeat on my screen.
Get in.
Now, this that was actually one of the more interesting games because of the you picked up that card. There's no way for me to know what you pick up, and that's where you can either go in for the kill or not. And there was no way I could get around that. The only way I could really have probably got around that was to play me ace and king first, and then play the 3 4s. Because if I play 2 or 3 cards, you can't play that 1 power card. You have to have 2 of them. There are times when the computer has 2 of them, and you think you've won with a double, and he plays double Artemis and gives you 2 2s, and then just wipes you out again.
And I know this might sound quite, like I mentioned before, it sounds quite a lot and quite mind-boggling because when we're talking through it, hopefully you'll find it easier because we're basically telling you what to do at this point. Yeah. And I would say you showed your stats beforehand, Scott, and it's pretty even. Now, obviously, you're winning as many as you're losing. This is how much things can change. And I'm slightly above, not much. I'm only like 2 wins more than losses, so I'm very similar to you. But it is all basically look at the draw. The most power card you get, the better. So if you can bag an Artemis and a Hades, you're laughing because you're guaranteed to be able to control the game. You're just hoping that the other player doesn't have the same 2 Artemis and Hades because we've just seen it on that. I think that was a great example, to be fair, that game.
Yeah.
Because I think we've covered most on that game. Sometimes you'll get a hand and you've just got all single numbers and you're knackered. You're absolutely knackered. You're just praying for a roll of that dice to be 3 or less. Then you can bag a power card.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure if you want to share your screen, Scott, and if you go against the bot.
Yeah, let's do that.
And we'll both see what we would do with your cards. I'll probably struggle a bit because I can't see massively on the screen, but I'll try my best.
Yeah, no worries. We'll do a new bot game.
And we'll see if me and you will have the same ideas, and we'll talk through this next one.
Yeah, I always play on hard, so we'll do that. Okay, so I rolled a 6. I won the draw of the roll of the dice to go first. So this is my cards. So you can see I've got 2 2s, I've got 2 jacks, 2 kings, I've got an ace and an Artemis, and that's all I really look at when I start a game. The others are what you would class as fodder. I think they're just your throwaway cards that you want to get rid of. So like I said before, I don't get rid of anything above a 10 as early on as I possibly can.
I think it's worthwhile mentioning. It's worthwhile mentioning as well, Scott. If you've got a 2, you might think that's a bad card. That 2 could come in very handy if you get a hypnosis put against you and it drops one of your other cards at 2. You've got a double straight away, and that's a great place to start with a double.
And also, if you've got an Artemis, like what I showed in that last round with Chris, you give them a 2, because I give Chris gave me an ace, which had I played it correctly against him would have worked against him, but the 2 was probably a better card to give him in the end. But I would probably play a 5 here, Chris. Is that what you'd be?
So I'm struggling to say there, mate.
Sorry, I've got 2 2s, so 5 7 8 9 10 2 jacks, queen.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, mate, I'll go straight in the low single, so 5.
Go on the 5, yeah. So you'll probably see in this round just how the computer plays against you, because it plays pretty aggressively. So you see, he's went straight in with a queen. Now I have a queen, but I'm not going to use my queen, or I wouldn't. I don't know if you would do the same here, Chris. I would skip this, even though I can play, because like I said before.
So I'm the same as you. I would skip that because you've got really good, decent backup cards in regards to the doubles. So I would skip that straight away and hope I get another power card, because I only got 1.
Yeah. So we didn't get a power card. We only got a 6. But what's nice there is I now know that the computer probably hasn't got a queen. So when it comes later on in the game, if I can remember that. So there's the computer getting rid of my ace. Again, I'm going to skip because I can't play the Artemis. So the power cards do have certain rankings above each other, I've noticed. You can't play an Artemis off a Hades, but you can play a Hades off an Artemis. It doesn't describe that very well in the rules. That would be nice if they did that.
I think the best way to think about it is Hades overrules everything. Yeah, pretty much. Right, so in this one, I would probably just go again for lowest card, which is a 7. Lower single, yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah. And we'll see what the computer does.
So I'm guessing it'll just be a lowest, I reckon an 8, something like that. Nothing. Right.
Yeah, so that's interesting when the computer does nothing, because that's how I usually would sometimes play as well. I maybe wouldn't have played that 7 sometimes. I'll just skip, even though I can, because I'm hoping to get more doubles.
So the computer
that's where it's coming through.
Definitely, I'm pretty positive will have something higher than a 7, but it's doing what we're doing and basically refraining from using any of those high cards yet, unless forced to do so, and trying the luck with the roll of the dice.
So the one thing you can't do is skip your goal, or you can't just pick up a card, which I don't know. That would make it a bit like, I think, is it gin rummy where you can do that, where you can not play a card and just pick up?
I don't know, mate, because
Uno. Is it Uno where you do it?
Even though we're talking about
game's a mixture of a lot of them.
We're talking about this. I'm not very good at card games, like at all. But I've clicked with this one. I've clicked, and I'm all right with this one.
Well, so I'm going to play me single
what
8.
You've got?
I've got 2 2s, 8 9 10, 2 jacks, queen, 2 kings, and an Artemis. So I'd probably just stick with the 8, just again test the waters on this one.
The only other way which you could possibly do it, which I always contemplate, is using your doubles, and obviously you've got to take the risk later on. Try and use that. Do you see you've got a single jack? Try using a single jack.
I've got 2 jacks and 2 kings. So if I didn't have 2 kings, I would maybe play me doubles now just to see what the computer's got. But that's dependent on the computer playing. And I've had it where I've played a double and the computer skipped, and I've got confident, played another double, and then he's coming with 2 aces. It's like, why
the only other way possibly is trying to use one of your mid-tier doubles, then just test the waters, just see what happens, because you're pretty confident that's probably going to come back to you to start again. But it's your game, mate. So you go with what you
play 2 jacks. We'll do that. We'll play 2 jacks and see what happens with this.
Because worst case scenario, it'll come back to us and we're just going to skip, and we're going to skip anyway.
Yeah. It's coming back. Okay. So I'm going to keep me other doubles now, and I'm going to go back to the 8, I think, and play that one. Let's see what happens here. So they've got a queen. Now, for me, this is still a bit early to play my queen. I don't know how you feel about that, Chris, but I still wouldn't want to drop that because I've only got kings.
And
I would either skip or Artemis this with the 9.
Yeah, because you don't want to use any of your doubles dingles.
Yeah,
your doubles to make them singles.
Dingle.
Don't lose your dingles.
No.
You don't want to obviously ruin that chance of having those doubles and dropping it down to a single, because that'll just nag at you for the rest of the game. Yeah. So
I think I'm going to skip this one, to be honest.
Oh, I would probably go the other way. I would probably
play the queen,
Artemis, and play hand the Artemis over.
Okay.
That's the only other way I do, because you can rely on the doubles to get you through.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, with a high king, but it's just getting rid of that double 2 is the problem. But I would probably get rid of the king first. Tell you what, let's play the queen. Actually, no, let's do Artemis and 9. Let's give him my 9.
And we're basically going off what we would normally do now, because you'd want to try and keep your Artemis right at the end. But we'll just test the waters.
My score that you're going against, as well.
And that's why I'm doing it, mate. That's why I'm taking risks.
I don't bother. Right, so they rolled there again, and I can guarantee you they've probably got a couple more of the power cards, because they normally do. I'm going to play the 10 here, because that's pretty much all I can do. And we'll see what they come up with on this one. Now, what I find is, at this point of the game, this is where the computer starts to play the same card. They've gathered a lot of cards. There's a joker, so now they have power,
which is not good.
No, you don't want the computer to have power. So that's a 5.
That's all right.
It is all right. I'm going to play the queen on that.
Once again, you don't want to lose that double, so keep the king.
Don't lose the double. I could have skipped, but you risk then picking up a card. Now, the only thing here is to get back into the game.
This is your difficult choice now.
Mm-hmm. So for me, I would play a king because it gives me regain of play. And then I can play my other king because I know they don't have one. But you run the risk of, have they got an ace? Or have they got a power card? So I'm going to play the king.
You're either skipping now or skipping if they control the next one. So at some point, we know we're going to have to skip the next 2 moves most likely. So I'm with you. I'll probably get rid of one of the kings.
See what happens. I'm scared.
And that's solely just to keep control.
And the nice thing here is, if they play another king, I can play my king, and then that gives me control again. They didn't. They drew a card.
The worrying thing is, if you notice the last couple of times, they've rolled 3 or less, which means they're picking cards up. Yep. There hasn't been many power cards used at this moment in time. So I'm guessing they've got a couple of power cards in there. But the only option now, really, you don't want to end on a single card in the position that we're in.
Yeah, I was about to say that. So what the computer will sometimes do is it'll play where you think, oh, I'll play me double to get rid of that. And then you end up with 1 card and it goes, oh, he has a Hades. And what happens with the Hades, if it's your last card and you discard it, you lose. So the computer could have, 12 cards and you've got 1 left, and they'll play 1 card and they win. So in this one, we have to play.
You're playing a king.
Yeah.
He's going to come back with an ace. Yeah.
You'd think so, wouldn't you?
Because we haven't seen many of them, I don't think.
He had another king. You know when I said if he plays another king.
Yeah.
So we'll have to skip. But we drew a card, and that for me is a good thing.
This will be low.
An ace.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's normally in this situation, they give you absolute bottom of the barrel stuff.
Now, what I know now is, because there's been 4 kings played, there aren't any more kings left, because it's just a standard suite of deck of cards, right? It's a 52 deck of cards with the power cards on top. I can't remember how many aces there were. I had one that was thrown away. There's one here. So the computer, there's still 2 aces in play. This is what they also do. I don't know if you've ever noticed this. They always play stuff just above what you've got. It's obviously random, but it's...
So if you notice, it's doing the same technique as what you done to me when this hand switched from when I thought I had one, and then you stopped playing your doubles. But we've got a decent hand here, unless... we're rolling, we get something shocking.
Good power. Because unless his next 2 cards are doubles, he has to play a single card. And the single card, even if it is an ace, we can play the ace and get it back. That's the way I'm looking at this. So
apparently he's got doubles,
yeah. See, it's a single card, it's a jack. I play the ace. So unless he's got an ace, which sometimes they will have, you'll have to roll the dice. There's a bit of a delay to roll the dice. So that's us one, because I'm going to play these twos. And unless he's got two Artemis cards, which I don't think
nobody's used one yet.
We'll see what happens. This is where, but you can't finish on two cards. There you go.
There we go.
There's me leveling up after beating the computer. So that's another example of
like pros at this, Scott.
Yeah, I mean that was. It's been a while since I've beat the computer. I'm not gonna lie to you. Let's put the camera back.
Just say thanks, Scott.
Thanks, Scott.
But it's really addictive, isn't it?
It is. It's like I said earlier on, I'm surprised by just how good it is. I don't play like board games or anything like that. There's, it's not something that I do quite a lot, but this is nice just to be, the games last minutes, if that, and you've got them, it's on your phone. As long as you've got an internet connection, you can play it. It's a good little time waster. Like I say, I've been off work sick for the past couple of days towards the end of the week, and I think Friday I was just lying in bed, had a few rounds of this, had some sleep, a few more rounds, and then I got up. It's a good little time kill, and it's probably better than scrolling through TikTok or Instagram or whatever it is you would normally do.
I use it I've used it a lot if I'm on like some public transport and things like that. If I'm on the metro on the way home, it's so easy. Just like you said, rather than just like scrolling through social media and not really doing anything, it's keeping your brain ticking over. It really is, and it gets you thinking. And
it does. It's
brain games. I think you could call them.
It is, but like we said, it does sound like we're being paid to say all this. We're not. We're really not. We'd have to disclose it if we were, and we're not.
We just want Wembley tickets.
We just like. Well, no, we just like the game, and do you know what it is? I think if it wasn't a Newcastle player that was behind this, we wouldn't even consider doing a video on it. But because it's Alan St. Maximum, he's a Newcastle player. He's put some time and effort into this, and you can tell. We thought we'd do a video as a Newcastle fan because I think looking at this leaderboards and some of the usernames, it's all like NUFC or Toon or
1892
or this 1892 all over the place. So I think it's got a good following up here. I don't know if it's got a following anywhere else in the country or even in the world, but there have been tournaments all over the world. Bring one to Amsterdam, Alan, and I'll come along. Because I'm a pro now.
Just ring me, Scott. I'll help you. It's fine.
I'll have you in an earpiece. I'll keep an AirPod in. But like I say, the one thing I would like to do is play this with more than two people. I think it would be a good 4 to 5 person group game. And I know that's what they do. I've seen some of the videos on the Helios thing, and the tournaments are like that. So I think it'd be good to experience playing it with a few more. So Chris, get a deck in, and when I'm over in March, we'll get the lads in the studio.
Are they available? Are the decks and the board game available? Because I know last time I checked, everything was gone, absolutely sold out. I'm not sure if that's a production thing where it was just a handful of them made, but I struggled last time to get one. But the decks, I don't want to focus too much on this, but the game which you play in these tournaments looks a little bit different to what we've just showed you on the app. There's jewels and there's coins, and we don't really know what those are about yet.
Yeah.
I'm sure there'll be things coming in the future where we will be able to talk people through it. But the app as it is great. And even if this app was converted just into like that deck of cards, which Scott said, ideal because it's so easy to play.
Yeah, I don't know. Is that shop in the Metro Centre still open? He had a shop where Game was, didn't he? Upstairs. That's where I remember seeing. I think Adam P he went and got a headband and got something signed from him. So yeah, that was I think they were selling them there, so they might have stock. I don't know. We'll look into it, and maybe we'll pick up a deck if we can and get some of the more the lads involved. I know Joe's downloaded it, and I think Ian was playing it as well. So maybe we'll get a few of them in the studio when it's over. Do you want to add anything to this one, Chris?
No, mate. I think, like I mentioned earlier, I think we've done really well to explain what the game is, and that first game that me and you played was perfect because that mirrors a lot which happens. We covered quite a few things in that one, and even that one which we've done against the bot. Obviously, you had different ideas to what my ideas were, and like I said, it's about taking risks sometimes and calculated guesses, and it paid off in the end.
Yeah. Well, if you play this a lot more regularly than we do, if you attend any of the events and we're doing things completely wrong, please let us know in the comments below, because we're just two idiots trying to figure out how to play a game. But we don't claim to be anything, any experts here. So if you know more about it than we do, get in touch, and maybe we'll get you on to let us know what else we need to be doing in this game. But that's about it for this one. We'll wrap it up. We have, like I said before, we have done a video on Helios in the past where we go through more about what each card does and all that sort of stuff. So I'll link that in the description below if you want to go and check that out after this one. I think I won 2 and lost 1, if I remember rightly, on there. And that was when I didn't have a Scooby-Doo, what I was doing with that.
That's when the app first came out.
It was like literally the day of it coming out. So yeah, go and have a watch of that if you want to see what the actual cards do. Download it. Have a chance of winning Rolexes and iPhones and final tickets and whatever else they've got given away. But yeah, if you like this sort of stuff, scroll down from this video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. If you want to be notified when we go live with other videos, you can hit the notification bell. We've just released the reaction to the West Ham game, and you've got the Always Smiling Faces podcast tomorrow, and there'll also be an FPL show and a preview for the Bournemouth game at the weekend coming up this week. And if you want to go one step further, it's $2.99 a month for our membership program. That gets you early access to videos and also access to the Telegram group. But Chris, I will leave you on this Sunday evening. You can go and finish your wine and unplug all your phones and everything that you've got set up there. And we will see you all in the next one.
I won you now.
Everybody.
Get in.